Strategic back again. Now, I know some of you guys are going to be like, wow, Strategic, you started the show a little bit too early today, huh? Well, the truth of the matter is, I'm tired. I got a lot going on today. We're going to talk about a lot of it. We're going to cover some interesting stories. And I almost didn't go live. I was like, man, I don't really feel like going live. But I already said in a previous video, we're going to start doing a steady schedule for the channel, which is going to include Mondays at 9:30 or 10 o'clock every single Monday to go live to get into that schedule, to break into the algorithm. So, what kind of person would I be to change my mind at the last minute after I've already told you what my intentions was? So, anyway, guys, I appreciate you for coming to the Strategic Eyes show and joining me today. Just want to let you guys know the truth of the matter is we spoke about it in a previous pre-produced video that I issued earlier today that my channel has been demonetized. That is correct. The channel is demonetized. I don't believe that there's a way that you can super chat. If you can still super chat, that'd be great. But I know I get no revenue from advertising. And yeah, I'm just not monetized. No difference than if you picked up a phone right now and made your own YouTube video, non-monetized, right? So we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do. I did put in an appeal. Allegedly, I have this appeal to stop the monetization now, and then they want me to clean up my channel and then submit for reconsideration sometime in May, late May. All right. So it's not guaranteed, but they said we need you to remove a lot of videos that we think are not appropriate or whatever and change the tune of your channel. So what they're telling me, they're basically telling me, hey, you got to be a different guy. Hey, Strategic Eyes, we don't like what you're saying, guys. So we need to clean it up. Otherwise, you can't be on this platform the way that you're on this platform, or at least making money on this platform, right? So I'll look at what they want me to do. I'll see what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. And, this appeal will most likely fail because the appeal button for YouTube is literally worthless. You could appeal all you want. I've appealed 1,000 times and I've not one appeal, right? So basically, we'll just have to figure out what's going on in May, whether they decide to permanently demonetize the channel or whether it was just a temporary demonetization. It is what it is, people. I got to tell you, there's a lot of things I've been wanting to do with the channel that I haven't done because of the pressure that you don't put on me, but the pressure I put on myself to come out with shows on a regular and speak about current affairs. To be honest with you, my dream for this channel is to do true crime and to talk about long form things that long form cases and stuff like that. I just don't have time to do the script and the research and to lay it out because I have to stay on top of current events and speak to you guys. So David S says no super chats either, by the way. So yeah, so it's a full demonetization. There's no way to make money on YouTube, basically. The good thing is they didn't ban me and they did not suspend me, but they did make the channel a drain now on my personal finances because we weren't making a lot of money on YouTube, but at least what we were bringing in was covering the bills of the show. So now I'm gonna have to pay for the bills of the show from my actual pocket. It is what it is. So we will continue to do the show, and I'll just figure out what the hell I want to do with the show and how I want to move forward. But it is what it is. If they permanently demonetize me, um, mm, the Strategic Eyes show is in jeopardy. It really is. I will consider if it's a permanent demonetization, I will consider possibly stopping the show. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes because it takes a lot of time out of my life. And you know what? I love you guys. You guys are amazing, but there's a lot of other things I could be doing. And if they take away the opportunity of this show being able to be seen by a wider audience and changing my life's trajectory, if that possibility is out of the window, then there's no point in me giving them my heart, sweat, and tears for nothing so that they can run ads on my video and make money. No, thank you. All right, so we'll think about other platforms, or maybe just take a break for a while. It is what it is. Or start a new channel and just do true crime like I wanted to do. Just do documentary style true crime, and then that's it. No harm, no foul. We talking about bad guys. We're not talking about social issues and all that bullcrap. Because obviously, with YouTube, if you speak about a certain thing, they're gonna target you. They're gonna be after you, and they're gonna lay the hammer down on you. So it is what it is. It's what we're working with. So, guys, hang with the show. Some of you who are members, it's gonna say that your membership is paused. I will tell you, don't do anything. All right. If you want to continue supporting the show, don't do anything. YouTube is not gonna charge you while I'm demonetized. So we have until May. In May, I'll know whether I'm monetized or not, and they will automatically just end the subscription if I'm no longer monetized. Right. But right now it's paused. Just leave it, because if I do come back and they are going to monetize me in May, then they'll start charging you $4, and you'll contribute to the show, and we won't start from zero. At least we'll have a couple bucks coming our way to help out with the channel. That's your choice. It is what it is. I'm so sorry that it happened the way it happened. Believe me, it really, really, really sucks, and that's what it is. So, but David says new channel. I was thinking, yeah, but the thing is, I'm not going to start a new channel and do the same thing I've done with this channel, and to get the same result. You know what I'm saying? So, if Strategic Eyes Show, has to be reborn, and believe it or not, people, many YouTubers, they have had multiple channels before they finally take off. So, you know, if it has to come in a different form, then I'm just gonna try something different. Just gotta try something different. So Chris Dry says 40-minute early. I know, because I really didn't want to go live today. But I came live because I made a promise to you guys. So I was like, let me go live early so that I can get out of here early and I can do some things before I wake up early in the morning. Initially, I was supposed to, I had training tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that. And it was like some real cool tactical thing, but it was an evening shift tour. So I could stay up all night and still get sleep during the day, and then go and then do the training in the night. But then training got canceled because I got notified for court for stabbing that I was a part of. It was real ugly. The dude's guts was in my hands. I'd never seen nothing like that before. I'm literally holding the guy's intestines in my hands, and there's no blood. You just see the sac. There's the veins in it, but there's no blood whatsoever. It's really weird. I didn't know that that's what it would look like in real life. I thought it'd be like the movies and you're bleeding all over the place. No blood. He cut the dude's stomach, stabbed him in the stomach, and the gash, the guts just came out. It was just really weird. And so the dude who we arrested for it chose not to. I was actually newspapers and all that over that one. Front page news. It was real crazy. You see me walking with him and my partner, and it was bananas, But anyway, whatever. So the guy they offered him a deal of like 9 years or something like that with attempted murder, and he turned it down. And so they're like, all right, so we're going to trial. So that canceled my training. So I had to go testify tomorrow. And at the last minute, the 9 years was now off the table. Now that he saw he was facing like 20 years, he took another deal for 10 years. So if his dumbass would have just accepted the first deal, knowing that you almost killed the dude, you almost killed him. By the grace of God, the man lived, right? You almost killed him. They're offering you 9 freaking years in New York State prisons with good time. You just have to do 7 years. And mind you, this dude was a total scale, total drug addict, loser, ex-con, been in jail a million times, right? So it's not like you're not accustomed to prison. I know saying 7, 9, 10 years is like, what the hell for us normal people who'd love to stay out of prison. Like, those numbers sound insane, like your whole life is in prison. But for somebody like this guy who spent most of his life in prison in the first place, and you know what you did, you understand the law, at least on a rudimentary level, that stabbing somebody is going to require you to do a lot of time in prison. He should have known that that was a great deal that he got. And the only reason why he got the deal is because the victim just wanted to get it over with, didn't really want to go testify and all that stuff. So he's like, yeah, I'll agree with that if I could just know that he's in jail and move on with my life. He turns it down. We're about to go to trial. Now the guy's facing 20 years. Victim's ready to testify, all that good stuff. He comes back to the table like, all right, I think I made a mistake. I want to do the deal. They said, well, the deal's off the table. Now you got to take 10. So now he's taking 10. So now he's got to do like 8.5 years in prison before he can get out. Maybe 8 years. I forget how they calculate it. I haven't worked for corrections in quite a while now. So now my training's all messed up. I got canceled for the training. So now I'm working a day tour tomorrow. So I got to get up at 5 in the morning to get to work on time. So you guys understand why I'm like, all right, I got to hurry up and do the live, right? So today we're going to talk. First of all, let me go to the comment section and say what up to all my people. For those of you, you guys are amazing. I start early, I start late. You guys are always with me. Don't act like and don't think that I don't notice this. I appreciate you immensely. You guys are definitely one of the reasons why I come back to YouTube day in and day out, even though YouTube literally mistreats me. Like literally, if I had money and I was rich, I would start a class action lawsuit against YouTube. I would subpoena their metrics during discovery and try and figure out if they're targeting me, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't talk about conspiracies on my show, right? But I wholly believe and totally believe that YouTube has a vendetta against conservative leaning African Americans. I said it. If you think I'm pulling a race card, that's your own business. But I've noticed that when you are an African American who is not speaking 100% liberal talking points, you get no love from YouTube. If you're an African American and you're either A, talking liberal talking points like, like Dr. Rashard Ritchie or something, you get all the accolades from YouTube. If you're African American and you putting rap music videos on YouTube talking about shooting people and women shaking their booties, you get all the accolade from YouTube. If you're African American and you're shucking and jiving on YouTube, doing crazy dances and all that stuff while eating chicken, like all that, that Diesel gotta eat the chicken and do the dances in the restaurants and all that stuff, and you doing funny dances and hip hop dances and all that stuff, you get all the love from YouTube. But if you're an intelligent professional man, African American, who's just talking common sense, and that common sense doesn't always align with liberal policies, guess what? You get no love. You get attacked, you get targeted, you get thrown to the bottom of the algorithm, and you get treated like strategic eyes. But I don't have money to wage a class action lawsuit on them to figure out what the hell is going on over there. So I got to do some soul searching, man. Got to do some soul searching, because every time this show starts picking up steam, is something else. Either A, they ban me, suspend me, or now they take away the monetization. They take away the monetization. Unbelievable. Chris Dry says, strategic reviewing fried chicken sandwiches every now and then, and we'll get a millions of new views. You're damn right. You're damn right. Let Popeyes come out with a new crispy chicken sandwich, and I decide to taste that secret sauce. Watch how quick my channel explodes. Explodes. It is what it is. One of my biggest, and also gossip. If you do gossip, you African American, you do gossip, explode on YouTube. How do I know? One of my biggest videos the biggest video I ever did on this platform with close to 500,000 views was me talking about Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears doing that video with that little boy. And the way that I did the video wasn't really like I didn't purposely do it. It just came out that way naturally. It wasn't like my typical strategic eyes videos where I'm talking from a cop's perspective or whatever. It was like I was a blog channel. Like I was talking like I was a blog channel like Lovely Tea or and all these other impressive channel, all them like all those channels. I love those channels. I subscribe to those channels, by the way. But I was talking like a blog channel, and I made almost 500,000 views. But when I talk political and I talk who I am, my channel gets suppressed. I've talked about celebrities before in the context of how it fits into the tone of my channel. Why is it when I talk like a blog for the first time, the first and only time, I get almost 500,000 views? You know how much money I made off that video? A lot. A lot. But that's the first and only video that I've made a lot off of. Because every other video that I do, the way that I think that the way of me being true to myself, no love from YouTube whatsoever. Whatsoever. So anyway, let's keep going. I want to give a big shout out to you guys in the room. Thanks for coming through. And I want to do a walkthrough today. We're gonna do a walkthrough. I'm gonna try and keep the show in under an hour. hopefully 40 minutes. I got two topics we're going to cover today. The first one, we're going to do a walkthrough of the Chase Allen shooting. He's a sovereign citizen in Utah who was killed by the local police out there. I've not seen the entire video. I've read articles about it, but I've not seen the video. We're going to walk through that video. We're going to cut it before he's shot because I don't want to violate any policies for YouTube. But we're going to see the interaction between them and figure out if this was a justified shooting for ourselves. And the other one is a Supreme Court federal judge. What am I talking about? Supreme Court federal judge. I'm losing my mind. A federal judge. What's this guy's name? Trying to get his name for you. Oh boy, what is this judge's name? I'll get it for you. I'm sorry. I had it on the top of my head. I didn't write it down because I read enough articles about it that I thought I had his name. But it is what it is. If you know the name, put it inside the chat for me. But a federal judge went to Stanford and he tried to give a talk rather. And I'm gonna tell you how my opinion on that changed 3 times. I'm going to tell you how it changed 3 times on what happened in that room. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. And I'm going to show you reasons why my opinion changed so many times to get to where it was, because I'm going to give you a hint right now. I swear to you, I'm not trying to play the middle ground, but there was a lot of propaganda on both sides with this situation. And when you figure out the truth and you watch the truth for yourself, you kind of understand how both sides were wrong. Kind of understand that. But I want to say before we get started on the Chase Allen video, I do not think it's okay for people to stifle freedom of speech. I don't think it's cool for these colleges and these woke warriors to decide who gets to speak and to basically shape the narrative on college campuses. You know, you don't have to agree with somebody, but I think it's important to hear what they have to say. And even if you're like a revolutionary and you just hate what these folks are saying on whatever side of the spectrum you're on, how do you know how to fight against them? How do you know how to oppose them? How do you know how to disagree with them if you don't even know what their ideology is? The only way to know their ideology is to actually listen to them speak. And so when these folks come on these college campuses and people just scream them down and protest, to me it's counterproductive because you're not giving yourself an opportunity to know thy enemy, you know. And I'd hope that nobody view each other as enemies, but if you want to look at it from that perspective, you're not even giving yourself an opportunity to understand where people are coming from. But anyway, let's go to Chase Allen. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this video up, and viewer discretion is advised. I will not be showing Chase Allen getting shot. I don't think that the police department includes that in the video either, but I'll make sure that we don't see it. So once again, this is the first time I'm watching it. I've read articles, but I haven't seen it with my own eyes. Let's see how this plays out. Make sure that the volume's all the way up. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, action. All right, so we have that silence before the body-worn camera turns on. That's all it is. We're just in the buffer right now, and it says 3/1/2023. So this happened just about almost 2 weeks ago.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm Officer Farmington Police. Reason for the stop today is there's no registration on your vehicle.
I don't need registration and I don't answer questions.
Alrighty. Davis, Fox 21.
All right, so immediately we see that, first of all, the article said, and maybe they'll show it in this video because they're going to show multiple clips. So I'm not sure because I've never seen this video before. But the article said that they recognized that the license plate was bogus. I don't know if it was a fraudulent plate or it was one of those typical sovereign citizen plates that's like, you know, I don't need a plate. This plate is just for decoration because I don't obey your laws of your land. I don't know what the plate said, but I know that he was stopped over his plate. Now, if you don't know what a sovereign citizen is, it's somebody who believes that they live outside of the laws of America. They live in America. They partake in commerce and using services in America, but they don't feel that they are beholden to the laws of America. Some of them are in so many different degrees, it's hard to even settle down on any particular ideology. Some of them only obey the Constitution. Some of them don't even obey the Constitution. Some of them obey like natural laws or something, like, like they're primitive people. I don't know. It's just a hodgepodge of people and ideologies that literally make no goddamn sense. But let's keep going. That doesn't mean he deserves to die. Let's see what happens.
Can you have a couple more heading my way? Is this back window roll down?
Why do you need to know that?
I just want to make sure that you're the only one in the vehicle. So here's the deal, man. I'm stopping you because there's no registration on your vehicle, and I'm requesting your identification. Okay? You are detained at this time, and you are not free to leave. Are you going to provide me your identification?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so I'm going to take that as a no, that you're not going to provide me your identification. Is that the route we're going? Or would you like to provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation, we can discuss the laws that you're breaking, and then we can go from there.
If you want my identification, you will be under duress, and you accept surety and trusteeship over it. Meaning you will be responsible for any debts.
Man, this kid sounds straight brainwashed. And the reason why I say that is that his mother was stopped for the same thing, bad plates or whatever, and she's a sovereign citizen. So this kid has been brainwashed since he was a child into believing this bull crap. Let's keep going.
That you are trying to incur here.
Okay, so I'm not trying to incur any debts or anything. I'm trying to investigate why your vehicle doesn't have any registration.
1692, you are trying to incur a debt and legal action for something
Okay.
that is not allowed.
Okay.
And under
So,
Title 18, Section
here's-
245,
here's the-
traveling is a federally protected activity. in which
I understand what you're saying.
involved in.
I
All
understand.
right, so it's looking real choppy. Like I'm looking at the replay, and the replay is choppy as hell. Am I the only one that sees this on my end? I mean, it looks smooth from my computer, but what you guys are seeing appears to be very choppy. Let me take off this virtual background. Let me see if it cleans it up a little bit. Let's keep going. One more time.
Understand what you're saying, and what I'm telling you is that you do not have an option to identify yourself.
I do.
You are lawfully required to identify yourself. So you can provide your identification to me, and we can have a conversation about the laws that you've broken, or you can fail to identify it to me, and we can go that route too. I'm perfectly okay with either way you want to go, but the direction that this encounter goes is 100% in your hands.
Sir, Utah Code, United States Code,
Okay.
is a corporate policy
Okay.
in which you have to be contracted and to be required to follow it. Unless you
Okay.
can provide me a contract with my wet ink signature on it saying that I'm required to follow it,
Okay.
then there is
So do you
nothing
want
I'm obligated
do you want to
do.
identify yourself to me?
Yeah,
or
I've
do-
only experienced one sovereign citizen in my entire career. I mean, we don't really get that in the Northeast like that. And the moment I told him, all right, buddy, if you don't identify yourself, this is New York, you have to identify yourself, otherwise we're going to take you in. All right. The moment I said that, the sovereign citizen stuff disappeared. He's like, oh, here's my driver's license, here's my registration. Da, 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 da. He took his ticket and he went about his business. So I guess that wasn't a real sovereign citizen, but he was talking this hokey pokey stuff until I told him I was going to arrest him. But anyway, let's keep going.
Do you want to go a different route? Wonderful. Do you have a driver license as well?
I am not giving you jurisdiction.
Okay.
Do not
Hit.
stop. Do not detain. You are not allowed to stop me.
Let me see that.
On your list,
I
saying
didn't
that
see
you're
what you
allowed
just
to-
tried to show me. Can you show that to me again? What's this?
This is a passport. It says, do not stare, do not detain.
He said it's a passport. He has a piece of paper that says, do not stop me, do not detain me, and it's a passport. And he made it with some crayons or something like that. And he expects law enforcement to abide by this piece of paper that he has in his hand. Like, these folks really are loony birds, man. Loony birds, man. I don't know, man. Like, it seems to me that his mother has his blood on her hands for teaching her son this nonsense and sending him out into the world believing that this is actually real and it's actually going to fly in the United States of America. Let's keep going.
And if you go on the first page,
Okay.
it says United States hereby request all humane concerns
Okay.
to permit the citizens
Here's what I'm telling you.
of the United States named herein
Here's what I'm telling you.
without delay or hindrance.
Okay,
You are
will you hand
required-
that to me so I can read it? You want me to look at it through this tiny crack in your
I am not
window?
handing it to you.
You're not going to hand it to me?
If I hand this to you, you accept trusteeship and surety, and you are obligated.
Sure, I'll accept
Debt.
trustingship if you just hand me the document so I can identify who you are because you're required by state law.
I am not
Thank you
required
so
to
much,
identify
Mr.
myself.
Chase Allen.
That is
This
not-
guy is so patient with this nutcase. I really feel sorry talking about it. It's like, because I know he's going to end up dying, which sucks. And some people love this guy. Like, he was loved. He had a family, and this is very, very sad. But wow, do you hear what this guy is saying? He's a graduate of Utah State University, and they said he was taking law classes. I don't know what that means. Typically, when people are in law school, they say, I'm in law school. I don't know what it means to take law classes, but I don't know. Let's keep going.
Not me. That is a piece of plastic paper.
So you have a fraudulent passport?
No. that is a
Wonderful.
piece of paper.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay, step out of the car for me.
No.
Oh, Lord.
Sir, step out of the vehicle
No.
right now.
I am not required to.
Step
If
out
you
of this
try and
vehicle
force
right
me,
now.
Then we're going to have an issue where you're
Step
gonna
out
have
of the
Oh,
car
boy.
right now.
Don't step out of the car. We're
Did
gonna
you
break
hear that? You try and make me step out the car, we're going to have an issue. You never threaten cops. Never threaten cops, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like cops or hate them, don't threaten them. Just like you wouldn't threaten your mama and your daddy, you don't threaten cops. Watch this.
the window and pull you out. Step out of the car.
Gun, 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 gun,
Oh,
gun, gun, gun,
boy.
gun.
All right. So that's what happens with that. I can't show you no more because I'm not trying to get spanked by YouTube any further. So let's see if they show a different angle. All right. Let's see how this works. He's on the floor now. What a wasted life. So they did find a holster on his side and a gun at his feet, which to me would symbolize the fact that he had the gun in his hand and he dropped it after he was shot. If that's the case and he had that gun in his hand, or rather the cops articulated they saw a gun. And if there's no gun, then there's no holster. He had a holster on his side. He had a gun down by his feet. It's most likely that this kid pulled the gun. It's totally justified. You tell me he has no gun, he has no holster, it's not justified. The guy who said gun, gun, gun was wrong. That guy needs to be disciplined, he needs to be fired, he needs to be criminally charged, whatever. But he had a gun and he had a holster. It's totally justified. You know, the humanity in me, when I look at these situations, when we have to shoot people as a profession, and the good practice and the safe practice, and he has very cheap gloves. He has mechanics gloves on. Those aren't good gloves for tactics. But anyway, the best practice is you handcuff the person after you shoot them. But my humanity tells me how sad it is to die handcuffed. I remember a story that I covered a long time ago where a perp was being chased and they catch him. You guys probably saw this video, and a volunteer or auxiliary police officer mistakes his taser for a gun and shoots the perp. The perp has no gun or anything like that. He was just struggling when he was on the ground. And the guy says, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I shot him by accident." That's what the auxiliary guy said. And as the man is dying, he's like, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe. My breath is going. My breath is going." And he's like, "Please hold my hand. Don't let me die." Something to the effect, "Don't let me die without touching somebody else," you know? And I think this was also the one where one of the deputies told him, F his breath. F his breath. F-U-C-K, your breath. It was messed up. That guy should have been disciplined for that. But the part of him wanting to touch another human being before he died, that stuck with me. And I think about that. Like what these cops are doing, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. They have to handcuff him so they can be safe and then they can render aid to him. But the thought about dying handcuffed, not having the ability to touch another human being, it's really sad. Really, really, really is.
Is everybody good?
Yeah, has anybody didn't make a hit?
Did he shoot?
I don't have any fucking idea. My fucking gun jammed, so I had to drop my mag.
So, did he shoot? Good question. Does it really matter? Not really, because he already made his threat and he reached for the gun. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's mine because it's fucking jammed.
Good?
All right.
Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure. Is there anything else on there? All right, here, somebody grab that IFAC real quick.
I got you.
All right, so that's all we got with that. I'm not gonna stay on it for 1,000 years because we got to get out of here. T. Williams wants to know. First of all, Missy made a good point, but I made the point already. I don't know if she heard me before she put her message out there that his parents did in fact brainwash him into the sovereign citizen lifestyle, and so that's why I said his blood is on his mother's hand, because she did not raise her son to respect the laws of this nation, and he ended up making really poor choice when confronted with armed police officers, and now he's gone. T. Williams says, Strategic, did you cover the Jonathan Price shooting? I believe I did, but I want to go ahead and search it up again just to make sure. So let's see. Jonathan Price. I'm searching it in another window you guys can't see. Like a North Texas cop shooting Jonathan Price. No. I don't think I covered this. How about we take a look at it now? You know, screw it. Let's do it, man. Let's take a look at it now. Jonathan Price.
Developing now, new charges could be on the way for an officer found not guilty of a 2020 murder. Cleo Green is here in studio. Cleo, we obtained exclusive body camera footage, so what are we seeing?
Yeah, Kara, happening right now. This story is actually one of the most clicked on stories on our website. Former Wolf County officer Sean Lucas was just acquitted last Thursday for fatally shooting an unarmed 31-year-old man. That is Jonathan Price. And now we are finally getting a look.
How the hell this one slipped past me? You mean to tell me they had a whole trial and I didn't even know about it? God damn.
What really happened. We reached out to Hunt County officials to get this video, and we do want to warn you this morning that video, it may be hard to watch here. So Lucas responded to a reported fight at a gas station in town. He approached Price, who was wearing a green shirt there. They shook hands, they exchanged words. Lucas then tried to detain Price, who can be seen walking away from Lucas. Well, the former officer then pulled his taser and deployed it. Lucas then told Price to get on the ground, and you can see Price start to move slowly toward Lucas, and that's when the former officer opened fire, striking Price 4 times. Now, in court, Lucas's attorneys argued Price was trying to grab his taser, and they still stand by this statement here, saying that body-worn camera footage shows Sean gave 20 loud, clear commands while exhausting all reasonable force options to gain compliance. Tragically, when Mr. Price grabbed his taser, he had no other options. The jury reviewed and analyzed the same video when they acquitted Sean. But attorney Lee Merritt here, the attorney for Price's family, does not agree with that. He told us that he's asking the Department of Justice now to review that case to determine if any federal charges should be brought against Lucas.
We're asking them to look at the case from gavel to gavel and see whether or not there was discrimination present in this process and getting justice for the Price family.
I mean, listen, without having much information on it, I'm sure there's a boatload of information, but obviously I don't have that information. I'm just now seeing about Jonathan Price. Based off of what I saw, it's highly unlikely that the Department of Justice is going to review this case and choose to bring charges against that officer after he was acquitted in state court. And I'm going to tell you why these cases are so difficult, even though in some of those instances, these officers should be charged for violating people's civil rights. The reason why it's so difficult is what I've been saying since the moment I started this show. Stop resisting arrest. Stop resisting arrest. Why the hell are you fighting this cop, trying to run away from this cop? I don't think he fought the cop, so I'll take that back. But we have seen many instances where people do fight cops. Why are you getting tasered, and instead of you going on the ground and surrendering like any other person, you're fighting the taser, you pulling the prongs out your body, which causes a lot of pain and damage, by the way. Those prongs are barbed, so they're made that if you try and pull them out of your body, it's going to rip a ton of flesh off of you. So it takes a specially trained person to know how to remove the barbs from the body without causing so much damage. If you're ripping it out, it's going to cause you way more damage than if you just left it in. Why are you doing that? Why is your hand up like this, where it now becomes subjective on, is he reaching for the taser, or is he not? Stop resisting arrest. And it makes it so much easier that when you get a rogue cop who wants to kill you or kills you, that somebody else can come and say, you know what, this is clear cut. This person did absolutely nothing. They're walking minding their business, and they got killed. A Tatiana Jefferson was an easy case. Even though she may have had a gun in her hand, she was a lawful gun owner in her house, and the officer who was walking around the house was not following protocol. Remember those words, guys? We spoke about that before. He wasn't following protocol. He was not following best practices. He was not following his training. So when he shot her, he was not covered by his department. You understand? She made it easy because she was not doing anything criminal. She's in her home with her gun, wondering who the hell is walking outside of her window. You make it easy for rogue cops to do you dirty when you resist arrest. Just like this young man, Chase Allen, he made it easy to get shot because he told the officers, if you come in my car and get me, you're going to have consequences. He showed his holster. He pulled his coat back and exposed the holster. He showed that he was going to be a problem, and he may have had murderous intent. Stop making it easy. Cooperate with police. Does that guarantee absolutely positively that nobody will ever get killed unjustifiably by cops if they don't resist arrest? Does not guarantee that. Does not guarantee that. But I guarantee the amount of people getting killed will plummet, number one. And number two, when they are killed, in the event that they're killed, you will see nothing but swift justice. Swift justice. Because it'll be cut and dry. This person was just minding their business, person was complying, you still killed them. Now you got to answer to it. T. Williams says the strategic issue. The ironic thing is that the victim was pro-Trump, pro-back the blue, and his death divided the small town because he was the good one. Like I said, I don't have much information on this guy, so I would definitely not question his character to say that he's not a good citizen, a law-abiding citizen. But what I just saw in that small little clip, which is not fair, is somebody who was not complying as much as he could have. And I think even saying that is complicated because a lot of people feel like, well, if I don't think I did anything wrong, then why should I comply? And they don't understand that the law says that you have to. Even if you think that you're innocent, you still have to comply. But a lot of people feel like, well, I know I didn't do anything wrong. I know this cop is wrong, so I'm not going to comply. But once again, that gives an excuse for bad people to do bad things for you because the arena for you to argue this is in a court of law. If somebody unjustifiably detains you, you sue them. I was just reading an article about a video I covered, and then we'll go on to the next, to the lawyer after this, of an African-American male who was mistaken for a guy that had warrants. And, he's talking to Caucasian cops, and one of the cops is just talking like, yo, you look like somebody who's wanted. We're going to take you in. And he's like, you're going to take me in? All right, well, it is what it is, but I'm not the person that you're wanted for. And the sergeant comes up behind him and sneak slams him. Now, this guy was cooperating. The sergeant sneak slams him, falls on his wrist, breaks his wrist. He's like, oh my God, you broke my wrist. What? What's going on? And then they radio it in like, yeah, we got the guy who's wanted. And then those other guys, other cops on the scene was like, in another area was like, no, you don't, because we got that guy right here. You got the wrong person. And then they're like, really? And then you see the dread on their face like, oh man, we messed up. So then they immediately uncuff him. They say they're sorry, like, yo, you look like this guy, da-da-da. You want us to call you an ambulance? Yeah, your hand. They said, yeah, your hand looks broken. They even say, like, yeah, your hand is definitely broken. You want us to call you an ambulance? They called him an ambulance. He's like, nah, I'm out of here. I'm done with you guys. And he walked off. And he walked himself to the hospital. He was a homeless guy. He walked himself to the hospital. His hand was indeed broken. He just settled for $500,000. He just settled for $500,000. Why? Because he lived to fight his case another day. That's all I'm telling you guys to do. All I'm telling you to do is survive the encounter so you can live to fight it for another day. Please hit that like button while you're at it. Please, people, support the channel. Hit that like button. You guys know how hard it is on these YouTube streets, man. They out here for strategic. At least hit the like button. Spread awareness of this show. So, good one, Mr. T. I'm going to go ahead and do some research on that. See what's good. I don't know much about the story. So if this officer is, I mean, listen, I wouldn't have shot the guy, but he sure did. And, if there's meat there for the federal government to come in and do what they got to do, by all means, do it. By all means. In no way does my commentary mean I want to deprive this family of their justice. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely that they're going to go ahead and charge him with federal hate crime charges or civil rights charges after a jury had already rather acquitted him. So now let's go over to this other video here and see if I can find it here. All right. We're going to bring this up here. Let's see here. Ooh, I'm dropping stuff. I'm going to have to redo this. All right. So this is a federal judge who was elected to office, a lifetime tenure. Sorry. Bring this over here. From Donald Trump. And allegedly, I don't know much about this guy, but allegedly he's done a lot of rulings that are anti-LGBTQ and stuff like that. And so he's not well liked by these individuals. Now, I want to play for you a little bit of what happened when he went to the school to give a talk. He was invited there by that school's, this is Stanford Law School, which is number 2 in the country. If you go to Stanford Law School, you're guaranteed to be a 1%er, or at least close to it. You're guaranteed to work for the top law firms in the country. You're guaranteed to be a politician. Stanford Law is number 2. I think Harvard is number 1, or Yale. Yale or Harvard is number 1, but we know for a fact Stanford is number 2, right? So he was invited here. He's a guest. He didn't show up on his own, and this is what happened.
Yeah, and to this room, because you're asking into the room as well. Is that okay?
Associate Dean, what are you about to say?
Okay, because you are also.
All right, so this is the diversity and equity dean. All right, because now every company has to have a diversity and equity HR person, dean, whatever, CEO, CFO, whatever. You got to have somebody in charge of making sure that things are diversified. I get it. I'm not mocking it. I'm just saying what she does. All right. So she's here. She steps in, and now she's going to take over, and she's going to talk for 1,000 years.
It's not your court.
You asked for an administrator. She is an administrator.
All right, so the reason why he started getting heckled like crazy. So like half of the room are people who invited him there, part of this conservative club. The other half are protesters. So he asked for an administrator to come in to kind of like stop them from heckling, because the rule in Stanford is that you can't heckle a speaker. You could protest outside of the room, outside of the venue, but you cannot impede on somebody's free speech, right? That's the rule of the university.
Ask for an administrator in
Do
here.
you want
but
an
I
echo
can't-
chamber, or do you want someone there that can hear you? You might handle
Can I say something, Tim? Is that okay? Is that okay?
So you've invited me to speak here, and I'm being heckled nonstop. And I'm just asking for an administrator to sign.
That's an
This is ridiculous. These are supposed to be the smartest people in America. This is it. Like this is supposed to be our future leaders, man. It's a fact. And they can't even be respectful of a speaker. I'm telling you though, my opinion's gonna change a few times, but you're gonna understand why my opinion changed a few times to come to where I'm gonna eventually rest my laurels on. All right, let's keep going.
Racism is showing.
So they're saying that he's showing racism because she's saying, I'm the administrator, I'll talk. But he doesn't really want her to speak because he knows that she's not going to be fair to him. But they're trying to twist it to say, well, you don't want her to speak because you're racist and you don't like black women. I don't know what's in this man's heart, but I know that it's obvious that if you're being heckled by people inside of this room and the diversity and inclusion person who's sitting there, you know, not stopping them, who's saying, I want to talk, they're most likely not going to be fair to you. And she delivers. She's not fair to him.
Wait, if you want a marketplace of ideas, you have gotten what you wanted, take it. Like, do you want an echo chamber? What's the issue?
Can I help?
I guess I have prepared remarks, but
And I want you to be able to.
they're not letting
I want
me
you to be
get.
able to get a prepared.
Go.
Okay.
Yes, please.
And I had to write something down because I'm so uncomfortable up here. And I don't say that for sympathy. I just say I'm deeply, deeply uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable because this event is tearing at the fabric of this community that I care about and I'm here to support. And I don't.
You hear that? Him talking is tearing the fabric of the Stanford community apart. You see how like they play on words? Like everything is so grandiose. Like everything is so end of the world. Like, oh my God, this conservative judge is here and he's talking about COVID. That's what he was there to talk about. COVID, lockdowns, and like one more thing. He wasn't there to talk about abortion. He wasn't there to talk about LGBTQIA community. He wasn't there to talk about racism. He was there to talk about COVID and lockdowns, right? Now, mind you, I would never nominate this judge. I would never put this judge if I was president strategic of the United States of America. But this guy is here to talk about his beliefs. Why wouldn't you want to listen to him? Why wouldn't you give him the opportunity to tell you what he's thinking and then probably for a rarity in your life, be able to actually speak to a person that makes decisions that literally affects the fabric of our country? You have an opportunity to possibly change his mind. Or you have an opportunity to understand his ideology and know how to fight against him. But instead of listening, they're saying, do you want an echo chamber? Well, what the hell do you think he's talking in? He's talking in an echo chamber of people who hate him, and it's not going to do anything to forward the conversation or to mend or heal these divisions. Let's keep going.
I don't know, and I have to ask myself, and I'm not a cynic to ask this, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is this worth it? It isn't a setup. But for many people in this law school who work here, who study here, and who live here, your advocacy, your opinions from the bench land as absolute disenfranchisement of their rights and does land. Let me.
I don't know about y'all, but it's so loud. It's like it almost blew my ears out listening to these folks. Go ahead, let's keep going. All right, so they have like trans rights and stuff like that, signs inside of the audience. I'm just telling you what they have. I'm not picking on any groups. I'm just want to give you information. I want nobody coming for me. But that's what the signs were being held up. It was pretty much the most people. The group that was there was LGBTQIA protesters, because they felt that his rulings on a bench disenfranchised them. I'm going to do my research out of curiosity to find out what particular rulings made these folks so upset about this guy speaking. Let's keep going.
And it impacts directly their people, humans, their families, and their communities. And I'm uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable to say this to you as a person. It's uncomfortable to say that for many people here, your work has caused harm, has caused harm. And I know that must be uncomfortable to hear. I know that must be. Let me please finish, and I want to give you space to finish your remarks too, Judge Duncan. I'm also uncomfortable because many of the people in the room here I've come to care for, and in my role at this university, my job is to create a space of belonging for all people in this institution. And that is hard and messy and not easy, and the answers are not black or white or right or wrong. This is actually part of the creation of belonging. And it doesn't feel comfortable, and it doesn't always feel safe, but there are always places of safety, and there is always an intention.
Yeah, there's like the safety, safe place, all this stuff. Like, these folks are really, really weak people. A lot of these folks are really weak people. They really are. And I got to say, I'm going to get into this guy. I'm going to get into him, but it's like, what kind of world are we created? You know, like I was looking at some pictures, and like, what's this guy's name, man? He's just this. He started with Creed with Michael B. Jordan, and he was in Ant-Man Quantumanium, and you know, this guy's like real buff, man's man type of guy, good actor, handsome dude, and he's in Vogue, you know, taking pictures with pink feathers and blowing kisses at the screen like he's, you know, an effeminate type of guy. But that's not who he is. Like, if you're that way, then okay, you know, no problem. But like, it seems like masculinity is just going out the door in this country. We're getting soft, man. We're getting real soft. Everybody gets their heart broken over stupid stuff. People getting hurt over words. You know, like, it's like, come on, man. Like, when are we gonna grow a backbone? Like, we didn't get this far by being weaklings, man. Like, if you disagree with this guy, argue this guy on the merits, man. Argue him on the merits. Meet him where he's at. Have an intellectual debate with this fool and show him that his ways are foolish, that his ideology is flawed. But don't cry about it. Tears never get anything done. But let's keep going.
From this administration to make sure you all can be in a place where you feel fully you can be here, learn, grow into the amazing advocates and lawyers.
See that? Advocates and lawyers. Advocates and lawyers. Notice, like, the advocate part is the first thing she said. Social justice warrior, advocates, and then lawyers, right? You know, like, come on, man. Let's keep going.
Leaders that you're going to be. I'm also uncomfortable because it is my job to say you are invited into this space. You are absolutely welcome in this space that people learn and, again, live. I really do wholeheartedly welcome you.
No, you don't. She's being passive aggressive. On one hand, you say, I welcome you. The other hand, you say, you're not welcome. Because she's now going to say some stupid saying about, is the sauce worth the juice, or the juice worth I don't know. Let's let her say it.
Many people in this administration do absolutely believe in free speech. We believe that it is necessary.
No,
we believe
no, you
that the
don't.
way to address speech that feels abhorrent, that feels harmful, that literally denies the humanity of people, that one way to do that is with more speech and not less.
Yeah, but this guy is not here talking about any of those stuff. This guy is talking about COVID. and lockdowns. He's not there talking about LGBTQIA people or whatever. He's not there talking about abortion. He's not there talking about other things that he has to look at on his bench as a judge. He's talking about COVID and lockdowns. What does that have to do with any of the other things these people are talking about?
And not to shut you down or censor you or censor the student group that invited you here. That is hard, that is uncomfortable, and that is a policy and a principle that I think is worthy of defending even in this time. And again, I still ask, is the juice worth the squeeze?
What does that mean?
I mean, is it worth the pain that this causes and the division that it causes? Do you have something so incredible important to say about Twitter?
You see, Twitter, that's also what she said. Like Twitter, he was there to talk about Twitter too. Let's keep going.
And guns and COVID, that is
Twitter, guns, and COVID. That's what he was there to talk about. Twitter, guns, and COVID, right? And she said, is the juice worth the squeeze? When you're causing so much pain in here, is what you have to say so important that you should say it? But then she just said 2 minutes ago that she believes in free speech and she's not trying to infringe upon his free speech, and she wants to welcome here, and he's welcomed here, and she's praying on how welcomed he is into the room. But then she says, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is what you're saying so important that you really have to say it about Twitter, guns, and COVID? She's talking out of both sides out of her mouth. She's talking both sides out of her mouth. The contradiction is real. I'm going to stop it in a second so I can play you the other videos.
Worth this impact on the division of these people who have sat next to each other for years, who are going through what is the battle of law.
Mind you, we don't even need to hear more what she bloviates. She should have a YouTube channel. I bloviate too, but it's my channel. You come here to hear me bloviate. She's got a captive audience because some of those people actually want to hear him speak. So they want to wait till she finished talking so that he can have the opportunity to speak. Now, let me tell you what ends up happening, right? Number one, the people who are offended don't have to be there. This is not a class. Their professor didn't say, I'm inviting this guy in and you have to listen to him, otherwise you fail my class. This is a talk that a student group invited this federal judge over to speak. Nobody had to be there. People literally took times out of their life to come out there and listen to him. So the notion that him being there is somehow causing pain to these individuals is asinine because none of them have to be in the room. At the end of her bloviation, it's not a word, but when she's done bloviating, that's a word. She then says, if you don't want to listen to us because this is too painful, you could leave. And a number of students leave. A number of them leave. And then another dean stands up and says, listen, we can't do any more heckling. It's over. Stop heckling. Let the man speak for questions. Now, I missed out on that part. And I'll tell you that last sentence she said, for questions, I missed out on that. And I'll tell you how my opinion changed, right? So after I watched this video by itself, I said to myself, listen, it's out of line. It's another one of those anti-free speech situations where people are depriving people of their ability to speak on these campuses because they have different views. I 100% just saddened and distressed in watching it. And this lady should be fired, in my opinion, because she is trash. And the students who were stopping him from speak, they should be expelled. That's how I felt a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. She really shouldn't be fired. If that's what they want to keep around, she has a family to feed. I don't want to take food out of anybody's mouth. So I say that lightly. All right. But I definitely didn't like what I saw. And then I saw these videos here. Check this one out. You guys can't see it. Let me get this out of here and put this in. You guys tell me. Check this out.
Not persuaded?
It makes sense. Can you explain
Great,
it?
good. Next question.
I did read it just before this, and I'm confused how that squares with what you said about being respectful of people when you're talking about, like...
Yeah, I thought the opinion was perfectly respectful. I gave reasons. That's what judges do. I gave reasons.
It's a slippery slope argument about like using a bunch of different pronouns and what could happen if you chose a specific.
Yeah, I was talking about you read the opinion.
But
Next question.
But you didn't answer my question, which is like, why did you think that you couldn't be respectful to one litigant without somehow causing downstream effects?
For the reasons that I gave in the opinion. Thanks.
How about you give it to us?
Next question. How about you ask me a question?
We
Would
did.
you give them to us? Right. Yeah, okay.
How about you give them to us?
Next question.
Right. So then I was looking on Twitter, and all of the blue checks started circulating these videos around. I'll show you more of them where they're like, "Whoa, why should they show respect to a guy like this? Look how he was talking to these students and treating them." I'm gonna tell you why he was talking like that. Check this out.
Welcome in this space.
Oh, we don't want to watch that. Let's see it.
Welcome.
Oh.
You don't respect the assignment. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
You are an opponent.
It's disgusting.
You're calling her an idiot?
All right. So when I saw that, let me watch this last one because they're short, so it's all good. Let's watch this last one.
I'm going to triple down on it, and I'm going to quadruple down on it because you are willfully misunderstanding.
No, I know what
what
it
I'm
might be your question.
saying. Great.
It's
So
a
in other words,
question
it's a
for-
loaded
No, it
question.
assumes a fact, not an evidence.
Yes, thank you.
Which I didn't do. I didn't assume any facts. I asked you, do you think that considering the ethical implications of your decisions is outside the scope of your work?
Do you mean, I don't understand the question. Do you mean the rules of judicial ethics?
I mean, when
The rules of judicial ethics?
you know as well as I do that the courts weigh different interests all the time, that they all the time consider like fairness among a range of different required considerations. How does that factor into your ethical considerations as a judge?
So let me see if I can unpack this. Judges are ruled by rules of ethics. They're codes of ethics. Do we consider them? Oh, you bet we do.
No, I don't mean that.
You don't mean that. You mean, do I sit back and sort of say, well, what is fair? What is fair? What do I think is fair? The answer is judges aren't supposed to engage in some sort of cosmic fairness balancing because we have elected officials to do such things.
I agree 100%. Once again, I tell you guys, I don't particularly like a lot of these judges that are out there, especially really conservative ones. I feel like sometimes they rule too much in the favor of corporations and stuff like that. But he's 100% correct. Judges aren't supposed to decide what's fair and what's not. They're supposed to decide based on the merits of the law. So if the law is not in your favor, then you lose. Not, you know what? The law says this, but I'm going to do this because I want people to feel good. And that's basically what she's asking him. And he's telling her no. And that is the correct answer to give. Let's let it play out.
We have elected officials.
And he's right. They have elected officials for that. So a whole bunch of liberal folks, blue checkers on Twitter, playing these videos. Where I got it from, it was from the liberal channels on Twitter. And they were saying, why would they be respectful to this guy? Look how he was talking to them. Well, how they framed it is that he spoke to them like this before that lady spoke. This was afterwards. And if you pay attention to the video, the first video I showed you, the lady said, the equal opportunity, diversity dean and all that good stuff, she said, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. You can talk. And then a Caucasian dean inside of the crowd stood up, and then the camera went on her. And that dean said, listen, you got to keep the heckling down so that we can actually hear the questions so people can ask questions. So he's salty like this because he's already felt disrespected the way he's been treated since he came there. That's why he's salty. Now, we have no way of knowing whether he's just that type of person every single day. Why? Because they put him in a position where he could show his ass out and we can't blame him because he was just disrespected. It's a federal judge here. Like, you got to believe in the system a little bit. You got to show respect for people's due. If you're walking down the street and you see a 4-star general in the army walking past you, you're not in the army, but are you at least going to say, oh my God, it's a 4-star general. Thank you for your service, sir. Thank you for protecting our country. Wouldn't you say that? It's a 4-star general. I guess we see military people every day walking down the street with their uniforms on, depending on where you live. So maybe you might get tired of saying, hey, thank you for your service. Hey, 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 hey. I get it. But you see a 4-star general, you're not going to spit on his boots. You're going to show some respect, right? If you see your local senator, you're going to show some respect, right? I went to Capitol Hill, took my daughter on the tour of our federal buildings, and we went and we met our representative. I don't agree with all of her politics, but when I saw her, I was happy to see her, and I showed her respect because at the end of the day, she is an elected official. I see her on TV all the time, or at least she was on TV. She retired a long time. It's been a while since we made that trip. But she was on TV all the time. She was, representing my community. She deserved a certain level of respect. I hate Mitch McConnell. But if I meet Mitch McConnell, I'm going to shake his hand and say, how you doing, Mr. McConnell? I'm going to show him the respect that he deserves as a politician. But if I had to vote for him, he would not get my vote. If I seen AOC, I would show her respect. How you doing, Miss Cortez? This is my daughter. Let's say I went on a trip again down to DC. It's my daughter. Da-da-da-da. Can we take a picture? Now, would I vote for her? Hell no. But I respect the position. I respect the fact that she holds office in these United States of America. Here's a federal judge. It doesn't matter who nominated him, whether it was Bill Clinton, George Bush, or the person who did nominate him, President Trump, former President Trump. You got to give respect for the office. And this was an opportunity to do what we just saw in those videos. Debate the man. Have a conversation with him. Find out what his ideology is. Find out what metrics he uses, what his thought process is in making his decisions. How does he come to those decisions? You could have got so much from this guy if you were respectful to him. If he's in a room filled with liberal people, which he wasn't, it was the Federalist Society that brought him there. If they were just respectful, they could have learned so much about this judge. And maybe they would have had an opportunity to change his mind on a few things. But that opportunity is gone. Because now he can leave this atmosphere and say, this is exactly why I hate liberals. This is exactly why I don't like these folks who live in that space. Now he's just going to double down on his ideology, if he even has one. We all have ideology, so let me stop pretending. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's very sad that we see this. So at first, I was upset with the protesters and the teacher, the dean who spoke. And then I saw these videos before doing my research and getting further context, and I was upset with him. I was like, is this how you were talking to these folks before this lady intervened? And then I realized that no, they were trying to take it out of context and frame it like he was talking like this first before the dean came up, when in all actuality, he gave his speech first. And then he was interrupted by the heckling. And then before he could finish his speech, he asked for an administrator to come in to get control of the room, because obviously they're not going to listen to him. And when the administrator comes in, she starts speaking from all this equity bullshit nonsense, but insulted him 10 times and then gave him the floor. Okay. And if you listen to the video, he says, I had prepared statements, but forget it now. So they went from him finishing his prepared statement to just going to Q&A. And now he's doing Q&A, and a lot of the same people who are in the room heckling him were the same people that were there asking him questions. And he's pissed off now because he was disrespected. And that's called human nature. But at the end of the day, I blame everybody. I blame everybody. Because what he should have did, he should have walked out. But maybe I shouldn't blame him for that. He's just a better man than me. At the end of the day, though, Stanford did apologize to him. They said that what the administrators did, there were 3 administrators that were there, 3 deans that were there, including the woman who spoke. They did not follow policy of Stanford. Stanford has a policy of not restricting people's free speech. Stanford has a policy of respecting people who come to their campus and actually speak to the student body. And they did not enforce that policy. All right. But unfortunately, what didn't happen is nobody was disciplined for this. Nobody was disciplined for it. And then, funny thing is, Stanford or their representatives, they actually emailed the Federalist Society's conservative group, and they're like, if you have any questions or if you're feeling any type of way or if you're triggered in any way, reach out to the very same deans. The contact information they gave was the very same deans that was in the room who were not protecting this group's right to have a speaker come and allow that speaker to actually express himself. Picture that. We get disrespected, and you're telling us to reach out to the equity and diversity dean who did the disrespecting for help. Not to have a dialogue on why it happened and why it shouldn't have happened or an apology. No, to reach out for help when she was the one who was the offending party. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, we're going to wrap the show. I want to go to the comment section, see what some of you guys are saying. And then we get the hell up out of here. We'll wrap the show up. Let's keep going. First of all, a few new people came into the room. We got Bobby Barcolino in the building. What's happening? Leah Sugar Britches is in the building. Thanks for coming through, showing love. Blunt Man's in the building. What's happening? I think Blunt Man said that I hurt his feelings or something like that. Why did I hurt your feelings, Blunt Man? Please do tell. Please do tell. Black Sheepdogs in the building says, Strategic Guys, you are describing a squad in your Discord. I hear you. Well, the Discord is a free speech zone, so we accept everybody. Come on down and do your thing. But, I just wish people could just feel free to express themselves and not get so angry with each other. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going, though. David S. says liberalism is a mental disorder. I disagree. I think liberalism is a beautiful thing. I just think we've been seeing just a really bad example of it. We've just been seeing the extremes on both sides. Both sides, David S. Both sides. And nobody's listening to the people in the middle, but hey, that's like the story of my life. Let's keep going. Blunt Man says, so they're mad because he explained law and they didn't like the answer. I couldn't hear it that well. Pretty much. You got it in a nutshell. Pretty much. That's exactly what happened. Blunt Man says, you're a bigger man than me, Strategic. I try and see the best in people, and I just want to do no harm. Believe me, I don't want to hurt nobody. And I don't want anybody to hurt me. I just go through life trying to respect people the best way I can. Strategic says, Black Sheeto said, I'm going to kiss those cheeks. Probably referring to me speaking about seeing Ocasio-Cortez or other lawmakers. So crazy. Whatever. Let's keep going. Let's go. Missy says, respect is taught in the home and by the parents. I agree. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of these kids aren't learning respect. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Emily Reed is in the building. What up, Emily? Lucifer the Doberman's in the building. What's happening? Emily Reeder says, Strategic Eyes showed that. What are your thoughts on Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Caitlin Bennett, the Young Turks, and The View? I mean, you gave me like 10,000 different people. That's like another hour show with totally different ideology. I don't know some of them. The Young Turks used to be a fan, used to subscribe, used to be a paid member of the Young Turks until they started getting ultra crazy, batshit crazy liberal. I think that they're just shills and they're selling their souls for corporate money and to have power and influence in the Democratic Party. So I trust nothing that they say, and it doesn't take much to watch one or two of their shows to realize that they're just not honest actors. I think Ben Shapiro is not the right messenger for the message that he's giving. I think he's an intelligent guy, but his demeanor, his voice, his him is something that exudes everything that Black people fear. So even when he's saying things that are 100% spot on, he will never reach the audience he should be reaching. And that's not his fault. I'm just saying that's why we have PR. That's why most singers are sexy. That's why most supermodels are ultra attractive and fit, because we're visual creatures. And we like to see certain things out of certain type of people that do certain things. And Ben Shapiro will only talk to white people, even though his message should be heard by everybody. And I don't agree with everything that Ben Shapiro says, but he does say some things that are 100% true. And he says it in an unapologetic, matter-of-fact way, and it's not going to reach people that way. So it is what it is. Am I a fan of his? No, I don't really have any feelings about him. I just listen to him from time to time when his videos come across my feed. And some of the things he says is based, but he's not the right messenger. Caitlin Bennett, don't know who that is. And The View is a bunch of retarded people. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yankee Rednecks in the building. What's happening, buddy? He says, hey, sorry I'm late. Did you get my email? I haven't checked my email yet. I'll definitely check it, and I'll let you know what's going on. I'll respond back to it, buddy. Thanks for getting back to me, though. Appreciate you. Bobby Buckley says the squad be deleting comments in the Discord. Your squad don't promote free speech. I don't want that. I tell people not to do that. I'm going to look into it. If people are deleting comments that are not over, we do have a rule on my Discord. There's no overtly racist stuff. And I'm not saying that anybody's saying, I'm just telling you what the rule is. You know, you can't come on my Discord and say screw trans people. You can't come on my Discord and say screw black people. You know, you can't come on my Discord and say all black people aren't worth anything, or all gay people aren't worth anything, or Latinos or Asians. We don't do hate speech, all right? It's okay to come on my Discord and say, okay, statistically, here's a statistic that shows that purple people commit more deaths than anybody else. Or, you know, let's be realistic. Black people commit more than 50% of the murders in America, even though they only make up 13% of the population. For some people, that's going to be hurtful, but it's a truth and it's a fact. We talk about it on this show, but we talk about how can we fix it. We don't use it as a tool to denigrate African Americans and somehow make African Americans lesser than thou, but it is a fact and it needs to be spoken about. If that stuff like that is said on my Discord, that should not be deleted. But if we're saying anything racist, that has to be deleted. And the reason why I bring that up is not because I think anybody's saying anything racist. I bring it up because I'm saying that's the only metric, really. So if people are deleting comments that are other than that, then that's a problem. And I would say the other thing is no personal attacks, okay? Because everybody has their limit. Like even me, I'm on shows, and if somebody gets real personal with me, sometimes I let it slide, sometimes I snap back. You know what I'm saying? So no personal attacks, no screw you, you know, you're a dumb liberal or you're a dumb conservative. That type of rhetoric doesn't forward the conversation, doesn't fix anything, doesn't change anything. All right? It's just hate speech. And hate speech doesn't reach people. When we talk down to people, people shut down. When they shut down, we can't reach them. And if you're having a conversation and the point is not to reach somebody, make them think about something or change their mind, then what the hell is the point of the conversation? It's just two people talking at a goddamn wall. So if the comments are being deleted are not because it's personal attacks and hate speech, then they should not be deleted. And it's something I'm going to have to look into. And I just need evidence of it. Or if there's a way for me to check the logs or something, like if Discord checks the logs and I see that people are just retaliatory deleting stuff, then that's a problem that will have to be rectified. And I might have to reevaluate who are the moderators on my channel. But there's a reason why I have conservative people who are moderators and liberal people who are moderators, because I want balance. I want balance. Believe me, if I had the time to moderate myself, then there would be no other moderators but me. But I don't. So I need balance. So it is what it is. Let's keep going. Good question, though. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Bobby. I'll have to do some investigating into that. I don't want a situation where people are being silenced just because of their political ideology. Let's keep going. Bobby Buccolino says, tell Yank to join Discord. Yank, join Discord. There you go. Lucifer the Doberman says, AOC is cute. I wouldn't kick her out of the hot tub. No comment. I don't kick her out the hot tub. Or maybe I comment. I wouldn't kick her out the hot tub either. She is cute. I don't know why people hate her so much. I don't agree with her ideology, but she's cute, man. Come on, let it slide. Pretty girl privilege. Bloodman says I was the same way, saw TYT at the start and wasn't sure what I thought, but now listening to them makes me envy the death. I hear you. Yankee Redneck says, strategic guys, did my email get through to you? I'm tech illiterate. I'll check it when I get off the live and I'll let you know, buddy. Absolutely. Let me check that when I'm done with this live and I get back to you. David S says Ben says it at 100 miles per hour. Yeah, I mean, he sounds like, some dweeb kind of dude. Like he's like, it's like, all right, man, a lot of people can't relate to him. Casey says, second live, I was able to catch. I'm doing good. Thanks for coming through, Casey. Appreciate you. Thanks for catching the live. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Bluntman says, strategic is someone in a video using the term diversity hire considered racist? Not really. It depends on the context because a lot of racist people do use the term diversity hire to shame minorities when they have a position that they believe that minority doesn't have the qualifications for. So, for instance, I'll use an example that we can relate to. I said that a YouTuber, I'm not going to use his name, was bigoted and made a racist statement by saying a female chief wasn't qualified for the job. Now, if you said she was a diversity hire, I think that would be either bigoted, racist, or ill-informed. Why? Well, the Memphis chief is the one I'm talking about. She was a high-ranking commander in Atlanta Police Department, which is a very large police department. Then she was a police chief of Durham, North Carolina for many years. That's a decent-sized, medium-sized department, and she was a police chief there with no issues, right? Then she goes to one of the worst police chief jobs in America, where one would think it would probably be an entry-level police chief job because it's a terrible job. It's nothing but violence and murder. No good police chief would want to work there because it'd be too much work. Like, why would you want to work there when you could work for New York or LA or Chicago, where you get paid way more and you have more resources to tackle the issues that are hurting the community? She decides to work there. So for me, the conversation should have been why she was a bad hire, not that she was not qualified to get hired. The conversation should have been, look, she has a history of making these teams that violate people's rights, not that she shouldn't be a police chief. Of course she should have been a police chief. She was a police chief before she came there. So if you said she was a diversity hire, to me that's retarded. And then we look at the demographics of the city. The city is mostly African American. So it's not a diversity hire to hire African American to be a police chief of a mostly black police department that polices a mostly black community. So maybe I'm too cerebral with these things that I want people to do their research before they just talk. But you got to be able to back up what you're saying. So diversity hire would be that you got hired for the position of chief financial officer. You don't have a finance degree. Your degree is diversity and inclusion. Even if your degree is diversity and inclusion at Harvard University, you don't have a finance degree. So why were you hired to that position? It's not a diversity hire if the person is qualified to do the job. At that point, we just hired a black person. Now, the only way you can say it's a diversity hire is if the politician explicitly says, this job has been held by white people for this amount of time, or Asian people, Spanish people, whatever. And I'm going to go out and hire a black person to do this job. Well, that politician just made it a diversity hire because they told you that they were only looking for a black candidate for that position, for whatever their political reason was. And what they should have did was not say that and just hired a person who's qualified for the job. And if they happen to be black, then they're black. But by you saying publicly, which happens a lot, right? By you saying publicly, gonna hire because I want to diversify this position, gonna hire a black person, then yes, that becomes a diversity hire. And I would think that that would be clear that it's a diversity hire. All right. I hope that I explained that to you, Blunt man. I gotta get out of here, man. Jesus Christ, it's an hour and a half. I really, really, really gotta go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Boo, 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 boo. Black Deep Sheepdog says he deletes his own comments on the Discord. That's funny. That's funny. Mitch says, you can call me a cracker. I won't be offended. That's what I am. I would never call you a cracker in a million years. I'm even sad that I said it because I was reading it, but I respect you too much. I respect all human beings, and we just need to stop the use of the N word and the C word and all this crap, man. They're all evil words, evil words. And, you know, my community needs to stop saying it. White people need to stop saying it. Chinese people, Asian people, Latino people, anybody who see fit to say those words, you need to stop saying these evil words. And in turn, every other race needs to stop saying these slang evil words to each other. Never. I'm going to call you Missy because you're a beautiful American woman who loves her country and is trying to live a good life. We're not perfect. We all make our mistakes in life. But as long as we try and do right by our neighbor and live a good life, that's all that matters. Yankee says, I've been called a racist Aryan by a person in the comments here before, but it didn't bother me. Most people of color take my YouTube name way too literally. Yeah, but you know what, man? Oh, well, first of all, that's sad, and I'm sorry that it happened, and I wish I had moderators who would have moderated that. I think that's inappropriate, to just assume that somebody's something because you disagree with them. But most learned people know that redneck does not mean racist. You know, it's literally a cultural thing for white Appalachian people. So, you even have some black people that call themselves rednecks who live in those communities, and are accepted as rednecks by the Caucasian people who live in those communities and call themselves rednecks. It's a regional thing, to my understanding, not so much a racist thing. All right, let's keep going. I want to scroll to the bottom. I'm gonna skip a lot of questions. I'm sorry. I'm not even reading them to know which ones. I'm not purposely skipping. I just have to go, guys. So these last three questions, or statements rather, David says, must have been before my time as a moderator. Yeah, David is on it. He knows what I want. You guys know what I want. I want free speech, but you got to be respectful with each other. Gutter Girl's in the building. Thanks for coming through. Gutter Girl says, well, I thought she was in it. There we go. Scrolled up. A whole bunch of comments came in. Says, I can't see anybody in the chat. What the F? Well, we can see you. Missy says, strategic. Thank you, sweetie. Missy works for me. And thank you for the respect. I respect you as well and your views. I was just playing. All right, cool. Well, even though you was just playing, at least you know where I stand, Missy. Yankee Redneck says, finally someone actually knows what a redneck means. And David S says, Yank needs more hair, so won't be considered a B. Okay, whatever that means. Last question from Mishka LeBear. She says, I said question, but these are statements, whatever. So last two, Mishka LeBear and Bobby Boccolino. Mishka says, when Yankees up hitting here, the North says redneck, we're not being kind. I hear you. And Bobby Boccolino says, much love, strategic. I hope you saw my apology video. I didn't, but you apologized to me on the show. So, you're squared away with me, but I'll go ahead and definitely look up your video and check it out. But listen, Bobby, I'll say this before I go, and I'm going to stop looking at the comment section because I got to go, and I can't read any more comments because I really got to go. I got work early in the morning. But I'll say this. At the end of the day, I'm a YouTuber, and I want to entertain you guys, and I want you guys to get informed. I am very passionate. In the moment, if I'm debating somebody, I can get passionate. You might think I'm upset. I'm not truly upset because I know it's just the internet. But I don't take none of this stuff too personally or seriously. So, and when I apologize to somebody apologizes to me, I'm usually done with it. I'm done with it. I think it was a great conversation we had on the Yank and Gutter show. But I want you to know, Bobby, I'm going to check your apology out, that it was done. The moment you apologize, I apologize to you too. It was done. This is over. It's done. You know, I don't hold grudges. You know what I'm saying? So we're good to go, man. We're good to go. And I appreciate the conversation because these are what people believe. This is what you and Gutter believe. We have like we just spoke about in this entire live, how these students were silencing this federal judge. You're not going to get nowhere by silencing people. You're not going to get anywhere by making people have their views in the shadows because they're afraid of being judged. You have to talk about these things. You have to confront them. You have to debate them. That's how you grow. And that's how we grow as a country. So these are your beliefs. I want to know what you believe. I want to challenge it if it needs to be challenged. I might agree with you on some things. I want to tell you my perspective. Maybe you might grow from it, or maybe you might say, yep, I heard your point of view, but I still believe what I believe. And that's your right. But we get nowhere from not having these conversations. So I'm grateful we had the conversation we had. And whether we agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. We had the conversation and we all know where we stand. And since we all know where we stand, that's a foundation we can build on. We can use that building block to grow together. So that being said, guys, I love you immensely. We're not monetized. It's a free show. Consider joining me on Patreon. I'm going to start putting stuff on Patreon. That's a way to support the channel. If you want to support the channel, hit the Patreon. We also have the PayPal and Cash App. I'm definitely going to have the QR codes and all that stuff on so you guys can support the channel moving forward. It's the only way that we're going to get the love that we need, man. There you go. You have all kinds of stuff because the show is no longer monetized, man. So that's where we're at, man. That's what YouTube wanted to do. They want to take me down little by little. Little by little. But we'll be around for a while. We'll see how this plays out. Anyway, like, subscribe, join the channel. I love you guys immensely. Strategic is out of here. Peace.